Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. And good to see everybody. I think this is the first time we've had everybody here in a while, which is a good thing. And Daniel, do we have any changes that we need to do for the agenda today?
No, sir. They're my report under board action and discussion. They're going on that I just put there for just a little bit.
We have one thing we need to go in closed session to talk about.
Yes, sir.
So we'll have to go to closed session item that we'll get to here at the end. All right, that's the only change I see. So with that change, I'm up to a motion to approve the agenda with that one change. So and a second, please.
Second.
All right, all of us in favor of the agenda. All right. Everybody should have an opportunity to read minutes from August 9th. Any questions or comments about the minutes from August 9th? Take that as a no. A motion to approve those minutes, August 9th. Move to approve. Motion, we have a second, please.
Second.
All right. You make a motion and a second.
Making the motion.
Second.
All right, got one over there. Thank you. All in favor, please. All right, very good. Mr. Orland, thank you for coming today. We managed to miss you a couple of times. So give us some good news. I can give us some good news.
Well, I do have quite a few things good to say. I've got two separate reports this afternoon. The first is your year-end report. To give you some perspective on how we ended the year for June 30th, 2022. You collected, and this is the report that looks like this. You collected $460,055.10 in occupancy receipts last year. Had a few other small items, sales of t-shirts and so forth, which was a higher amount than we budgeted. We budgeted $437.4 in revenue. So the TNT has done very, very well. Occupancy has basically doubled since COVID. So you have to look at a mixed blessing. At least people have discovered Grant County. And you'll turn on page the second page there, you'll see the net income. You closed out the year with $162,282 in positive surplus. So obviously that adds into your fund balance, so that gives you more spending power as you move forward with all your projects that you've got going on for the TVA. The next page, I've got the June 30 budget report just to show you kind of where we wound up. We spent a little over 68% of the budget, so we had some wiggle room there. We always try to budget a little bit conservatively, but that gives the TVA a whole lot more ability to move this county forward, and I'm real pleased with that. On a related note with the June 30 report, all of the information for the audit has been submitted to the auditors, and if you'll recall, your audit will be consolidated into the county audit, but they do have all your information, and I'm burning the midnight oil right now on the county audit, so I try to overlook my bags under my eyes right now because I'm pushing it. I do also have your financial report through August 31st.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Does the fund balance reflect the unencumbered balance?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It sure does. So I've got your September 1. I can't believe it's September. Probably there's a table over there that there are big dates like May. Wound up as of yesterday with reconciled cash in the bank of $689,958. We had about $5,800 that came in late to deposit. We got that deposit in today. We have July and August salaries to transfer, and I apologize for the typo, I thought I went back there and fixed that, of a little under 16,000. Occupancy receipts for this month were about 48,000, and then we had the tail end of the 2022 to pick up for your capital reserve. So I'm going to be putting a little over $11,000 in capital reserve this evening. And then we had a little over $1,500 in bills that were still outstanding at the end of this past month. So your cash available for expenditures is $667,238. That is as opposed to this time last year of $573,338. So we have a $93,900 positive variance in the cash account. So that's a really good place to be. If you want to look down at the bottom of the page, you'll see that I've added the total collections. We were ahead of the 2021 fiscal year by $161,000 in collections. And as I said, we deposited a little under $54,000 so far. Now, looking at the 21-22 year, we are lagging behind. I noticed that in sales tax revenue as well for July. I don't know if our combination partners felt that you were a little less busy. And it may be, you know.
Gas prices.
Yeah, I was going to say the gas prices have had an adverse effect on travel this summer. Your capital reserve stands at $127,200 once I make our deposit this afternoon. And just for statistical purposes, I looked at year-end Airbnb and HomeAway. It was 196, almost 4 of our receipts went through those two agencies. So about 43% of our revenue is coming through those two places. Looking at your budget, as you know, you budgeted a little over $470,000 for this current fiscal year. And you can see on the income statement as well as the budget report that we spent for the month of July and August. We spent a little over $41,000. We've got $11,170 surplus, and I'm hoping with good weather this fall we'll add to that before we hit the winter months. But honestly, I think we only had 1 month last fiscal year that we actually had a deficit in our operations. And then again, on your budget for this year, you've expended 8.8% of the budget. You had $429,000 left in the budget to spend this fiscal year. So you basically spent half of what you budgeted so far, if you look at it on a month-to-month basis. So overall, other than the fact that occupancy was down some in July, things are still looking pretty good. Still have mostly good news. Any questions?
Anybody got questions? Yours if you go. Thank you very
I'm
much.
going to go work on the other audit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing a good job. Taking care of our money.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
All right. Moving on. The only thing I have is I want to talk about the trail dedication, second trail dedication. Because of conflicts with the Forest Service, September the 27th, which is a Tuesday, is the day that we had given to us that the Forest Service could accommodate. So that same day, Rick has dedication for some work they've done at the old CC camps on Massey Branch. So what I would like to do is at 10 a.m. on the 27th, have the Lake Trail dedication at the Carter Cemetery parking lot. And then after we have that dedication, we move Center on Massey Branch, have lunch, and then immediately after lunch, the dedication for the CCC camp work will be taking place. Everybody that wants to stay for that would be welcome to attend. I know Rick's got a fairly lengthy list of people he's going to be inviting over there for that. And
Everybody's invited.
Right.
Everybody's invited.
Yeah. So we need a head count for everybody that's going to attend because we want to have some lunch catered, and Daniel's going to be seeing Heath Emmons tomorrow, and we'll work out the final little details on it, and then we'll get notice out to you. Hopefully everybody can come. Patricia's already said she's going to be out of town, and we'll miss you, Patricia. When we got back to the Forest Service, they just gave us that one day, and that was the only day that they could work with us on it. So I'm looking for that email, September 27th, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. And just as a reminder, Mr. Chairman, that it's the Kids in Parks project. You remember that, and partially funded by TNT. So that's why it's kind of coming up here and trying to have them the same day. So,
Yeah, good effort on both projects, I think. So, all right, be looking for that email. We should have that out to you the first of the week, and we'll go and dedicate that trail and dedicate to this other project, and just make a day out of it if you can. So, all right, that's what I have. Robin, you got anything on the Welcome Center?
The sign has been ordered. We're talking to the electrician about getting electrical drops. So maybe here in another 6 weeks we'll have a sign. So, and once we get the sign, then we'll put the planter in and the rock work. So progress is being made and going in the right direction.
It's going to be a nice addition, I think. All right. Anything else? That's it. All right, Daniel, you got 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. You think I did?
We'll do 15.
Appreciate it. Before I get into my report, I'd like to ask Mr. Chairman if you or any of the other board members have they'd like to make sure they're invited to the Lake Trail dedication. If you do, please send me out. So I'll be glad to come.
I don't have anybody, but we'll need a head count from Rick and a head count from us, so that people coming primarily for Rick's program, if they want to come and have lunch with us, we'd like to have them. So if you can get that information.
yeah, I can do that when I know when you need it. I'll give it to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Now that we know the times and schedule and everything, I can.
Very good.
So just to go on with my report, Jeanette, will be the office report. Well, I can go ahead and do it if you want. One of the things that Jeanette pointed out to me that you'll notice is that as far as the visitor center is concerned, in August of this year, 22, we had 115 visitors, and in 2021, we had 64, so that's quite a bit different. The email inquiries were down a little, and over normal, not over last year. They were actually hit over last year. Phone inquiries were down again as well, but it's strange. We may not be logging this quite the way we were last year, so I think it's normal with my report. The ongoing programs, projects, initiatives, and directives. What I actually left in that report were the things that are really more than highlights. There's plenty more things besides what's actually in the report. But again, want to report back to the board on the sesquicentennial celebration. As you'll two weekends, this weekend, 2 weekends prior to that. Began on the Friday night at Fontana, and went Saturday at Sept, then the following weekend on Saturday, Friday, and Saturday nights. It was here in Robbinsville. Overall pleased with the fellowship's success, and crowd-wise, it seemed to me like it was right there, and as did other folks say the same thing, that it was right there with the recent festivals that we had. There will be a post-event evaluation meeting in early October. We haven't set the date yet for that. One of the things that was striking to me is that the blankets were a huge hit. Of course, we pre-sold a number of them in addition to that. There are still people asking. We still have merchandise, t-shirts, hats, and blankets that will be for sale in our on our social media. Now, also we'll be having the Harvest Festival still running. Harvest Festival as well. Next item, the Faded Voices, and we do have a post-event assessment meeting there of this year's Faded Voices. It's going to be on the 21st at 5 o'clock in the conference room with the TNT conference room at the Visitor Center.
That's this month.
Yes, September 21st, 5 p.m. The Azalea Festival, and that we've not done 2022, but it's actually 2023. The initial organizational meeting will be on September 14th at 2 p.m. And there we will begin brainstorming about what, creating vision for that festival, and hopefully have something better here to report to you next month. The road to fall, we had a phone meeting on the 11th of last month of August. But as you'll recall, that's the primarily social media campaign, but bigger, because it has some in-person elements, where we encourage people to do their leaf looking along the Cherry Hill Skyway. We do that in conjunction with Monroe County, which, of course, is Delaware Plains, the county of Delaware Plains. That Road to Fall campaign this year, we think it's going to be a little special. It's actually bookended with 2 kickoff events, one on each side. The first kickoff event is the Lake Santiva Cleanup, which is on the 24th of September. Actually, excuse me, that's the second. The first one's the Skyway Cleanup, which Tennessee side does annually on September 23rd. And then the second kickoff event is Iron Hill on Lake Santiva Cleanup on the 24th. The other thing is that we're going to try not only highlight, but almost spotlight, better feature 2 back-to-back weekend events. The first one will be our festival at Sept, the Harvest Festival, on the 15th of October. And the second one will be the following weekend, which is the Cherry Hill Skyway Festival, the 22nd of October, and that's in Delco Plains. So there'll be a little more emphasis put there, and that's actually what's been forecasted as kind of the beginning of the really peak part of the season for most of the places that are a little bit higher. Website refreshing, we had the last meeting there with the developer was on the 11th. I got notice, I think last Friday or sometime that they had most of the adjustments made. We're going in and assessing those probably more I can do, and then be back with them again. And hopefully have that project finished up definitely this month. As far as the EDA grant, that we had a meeting with the folks at Dogwood Health Trust. It was a Zoom meeting. They invited us. They had invited us to submit, after we submitted our preliminary application, they invited us to submit a full application, which we did. This was a review, full application, the review meeting. It was overall very favorable. They asked for some additional information. They provided a little bit of what they thought we might incorporate into our process. And the additional information they wanted was a copy of the strategic plan that the Historical Association has, and the preliminary architectural and structural engineers assessment of the building. We're also going to be working perhaps with them, perhaps with another agency, to strengthen the business plan so that as we go through the process and get to the tougher evaluators, that it will be a strong plan that shows that it can be sustainable. The U.S. Forest Service potential projects, I put that there because I'm actually meeting with Andy and Ethan tomorrow at 9 a.m. Part of the meeting involves the meeting that we had on Wednesday, Tuesday. And that was a Zoom meeting that we had with TDOT, which is Tennessee Department of Transportation, Monroe County, and actually their visitor center there. And what's happened is the Tennessee Department of Transportation has engaged a company called Ray Smith. They're an engineering and project management firm primarily out of Nashville, but they've got offices in Chattanooga and Knoxville, et cetera. But they're to review all their state and national scenic byways in Tennessee. So it came time for them to review the Cherry Skyway Management Plan. And when they did, they called Atlanta Best, who's my counterpart in Monroe County, and said, we're going to go up and we want to sit down with you and review this management plan and start the process to see what changes need to be made to it. And she said, whoa, if we're going to do that, we want to invite the North Carolina side to at least be a part of it, even though it's Tennessee, because the roadway connects both sides, and it's even important to both parties. So they agreed to that on very short notice. That was from a Thursday to a Tuesday, and included us in the meeting. We had representation from North Carolina DOT and from the Forest Service on the Zoom portion of the meeting. The long and short of it is there was a plan that was done years ago. It was actually done before the Skyway was named the Cherry Skyway. That's how the report is. And it was never apparently officially adopted. But it did, in reviewing it, it did have some input from the North Carolina side. But anyway, the bottom line is that we, after meeting with their consultant, they asked us to sit down as a group. That's one of the reasons we're meeting. As a group to identify what we feel like some of the shortcomings are with the plan, or what some of the revisions may need to be made to that plan. So that's a part of that meeting tomorrow. The other thing is that there's several little projects that we've discussed and decided that maybe some of them we could discuss a little further, so that I could bring some ideas back to you at a later time. The last item that I wanted to discuss under this portion of the report, we have an opportunity to make a pitch to one of the statewide associations for an annual meeting. And the annual meeting is in an accommodation that's not in Robbinsville proper, but elsewhere in the county. And they're holding, we're actually going to meet with them, with the local representative of the state organization. And they're the person that makes a decision about where the conference might decide, or actually makes a recommendation. So we've actually been already working, Chelsea, Heather, and I are already trying to brainstorm about some things that we want to talk with this, the other partners in this group about, and see if we can help flesh out something that, as you are probably aware of, the residual effects of having a conference like that reaches statewide is really, it is resounding. You're looking at probably 300 people, I think, I calculated maybe a few more. But initially, those folks, if they have the right experience at a meeting like that, then there's a great opportunity to have them come back on their vacation time and spend some more time with us. So that's the whole. And we can be a little bit better prepared to talk in detail about it. We'll probably definitely next week. Because we'll meet with this person sometime around the 20th or something like that of this month. The last portion of my report are I have two items for board discussion and hopefully action. They're both sponsorship opportunities. My recommendation is that we go ahead and actually try to do sponsorships for both these groups, but let me try to explain them to you, and then obviously it's your question. The first one is the rodeo, and you actually got a flyer. It's the Austin Mountains Bulls and Barrels Rodeo. That's going to be here in Robbinsville on September 9th and 10th. I think it may, just from buzz that I've heard around the community, I think there may be a pretty good crowd, and I believe that they bring some folks in. People do travel a little bit for rodeos. I don't think we're going to get people from really far away, but I think we'll get people from adjacent counties, and then obviously that this will be activity that our visitors can enjoy as well. The sponsorship opportunities are primarily a sign. There are three stages of sponsorship. One would be a major sponsor, which is $3,000. That would be for anything this promoter does over the next year. A sign, a huge sign, and that sign will be on throughout. The least opportunity is an arena sign, which is about the size of a yard sign. It's 18 inches, about 24 inches, and that's just spread around the arena for $150. The one that, if the board were inclined to want to do the sponsorship, that I would recommend is the bucket shoot sign, which is actually a 2-foot by 3-foot sign, which is visible from anywhere you can see the chute and gate open. And that's really the exciting is. So you'll have a focus there. That one is $500. So I hope that I'm prepared to answer any questions that you might have.
I'm trying to figure exactly where this is going to be held. Located behind the old Bemis lumberyard. Is that where the store used to be? Or is it on the other side of the creek? Is it on the other side of the creek over there?
No, it's,
Used to be where the old one was.
if you remember, there used to be a horse riding ring out there. If you're going that direction,
It's where the Grant County land auction was.
there's a road that turns down to the right.
Is that where you're going to have it
Yeah, it's where the Grant County Land Company auction was, behind the dumpsters.
Okay.
Basically the same place where the old riding ring used to be.
Yeah.
But I noticed their start time is at 8 o'clock at night, and I don't know that there's any lights out there.
He's actually bringing in portable lights.
For lights.
Yeah. Yeah, that was yesterday.
I don't know if it's the same one they have up there at Cherokee, but I mean, you got portable lights up there, you know,
Yeah.
run off gasoline and stuff like that up there.
Okay.
You might want to mention to them on the flyer, they spell September wrong.
Yes, so it's,
It's the rodeo waistband.
It's a what?
The rodeo waistband.
Oh,
The $150 sign, how much?
they're, 18 by 24.
Is this open for discussion now, or are we?
Yeah, that's what I'm presenting to you.
So I recommend this because my girls did rodeo, and they were little barrel racers, and we saw the signs on the chutes that were awesome. But if he's willing to announce us at every rodeo and every show he does for $3,000, that's where we'll get the most bang for our buck, I think. With the $3,000, is he going to include our sign being on the chute?
It would be a larger sign, not necessarily on the chute. I mean, would he provide a big sign and a chute sign? I haven't asked him. And I don't know, yet I know that there's good synergy behind this event. I don't know what other events there are. I didn't really get that far with asking him, or whether there are other events. I'm assuming that he's wanting to do other events because of the way he presented it to me.
I know they're doing them up in Cherokee. I mean, I don't know how many times they do it. I've seen that, you know, in the past 4 or 5 months, I've seen, you know, 2 or 3 of them through there. So, when they're coming back, about a lot, how many times they come back.
Is there a home game that on the night?
It's in Seal, but
Oh, it is. Okay.
it's small amount, yeah.
And there are other local businesses that, the chute sign, there was only one other chute sign. There's one chute sign left.
But the people that go out there riding the horses, they used to say, well, it's really good for the football games. Go get a girl up there in Montana House up there. She'd rather go to the rodeos and stuff like that, and her family would too, and stuff. Go to the football game.
Is this the first? This is the first for the city.
Now, it's the first for Lancaster Rodeo Productions, or is it the first here in Grant County? Because I was under the understanding that he does this all over.
It's the first in Grant County.
Yeah.
So this isn't just his first rodeo. I mean,
No, that's not, my understanding is it is not.
It'd be a good way to promote, draw people into the county, you know, other than the football games we got on Friday nights and stuff like that, you know, in the fall of the year.
And I think if he's doing small rodeos like this around here, it'd be good to keep promoting us all year long. But we do want to be on that shoot if we're promoting it, so I would make sure that 3,000 included that open spot for the bull rider to come out.
So I guess my question on the 3,000 would be, how many events
If that's
is
what-
that? Yeah, that's one thing, but it's going to be two, that would be kind of,
But he did not specify that.
but not the first time we did the 500.
I'm thinking the first time,
See what
500
happens.
for the shoot. And then inquire for later.
so, how much money we talking about
You did there, yeah.
for the sponsorship of the rodeo?
It would, what Tricia had mentioned was 500, that sounded like what Valerie mentioned was 3,000. There was, reservation too,
But we don't have all the details.
Yeah, that's what I gotta tell you.
and I'm honestly not sure he is.
Mr.
float him 100. No, I'm not. But, you know, if we had all the details, you know, we could make a determination of what we want to do, you know. And when we check and see how successful he was, you know, in around areas and stuff like that.
Short notice, that's what we need more.
Right.
Well, do you think we could agree on the $500 and then maybe ask the other questions? And I'm sure there's not going to be as many people being $3,000 sponsorship than the 500. Then if we
Yeah.
wanted to, if he was going to do it 20 different places and it was worth the benefit of.
If we do money down, it'll be fine. Yeah.
Is he the same promoter that does Cherokee?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think so he's been coming to Spoken,
Oh.
and he's been sending me information. I do not think he's the same. If he was the same, I mean, I'd be begging you guys to do, you know, pay more, because he promoted even tribal council every time, I mean, every 5 minutes, he was saying their name, and there's signs everywhere, and they were going in the spotlight and just that shoot. I just don't think this is the same.
And there's several promoters out there doing it.
Yeah, so I just don't think it's.
So maybe 500 is a good way to start.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody would take a motion,
Me,
$500 sponsorship for this radio, September 9th, 10th. I would make that dependent on us getting some more details before we make a full commitment. If somebody would make a motion to that effect, if you're in agreement with me on that. So we don't have a lot of information. And
We got to let him see about it.
yeah, so let's just offer $500 tentatively, and Daniel can get more information. And if the information makes it a good idea, then we do that. And if the information makes it a bad idea, we don't do anything. That's how I would approach it anyway. But I've got some questions, but I'm not going to get into it right now.
agreed.
If you agree with me, somebody make a motion.
Motion. Second.
We can get a motion in a second. Very good. All in favor? Thank you.
But do mention about the spelling here. Actually, there's another word that's misspelled. So, then it gets C in fillable. So, you know, you might want to mention that to him. Good things up.
The setting was a little bit easier. As I mentioned before, one of the bookend kickoff events for and you have the flyer here too, this one here, I'm sorry, the way it's set is for the Road to Fall Cherry Hill Skyway promotion that we're doing is the Sand Hill Lake appointment. They asked us for a sponsorship there. There are 2 local businesses that you'll see that local to the lake that are involved with it. They're also high school wrestlers, and the 2 things they like is a sponsorship and volunteers that we want to have help. The wrestlers have been involved in order to do the heavy lifting. I did speak to Santilla PDA. They are in it because I felt like the first call was, what's to them. They are in it still in suspense as far as what to do at this point. They're not. They have money. They're not spending money, and they're supposed to be no longer in existence. Ultimately, but that's not the case yet. I also spoke to the Robbinsville Tourism Authority, and they're participating in it. I asked the group the entity that would receive the money would be this Lake Santilla 3C. They're also furnishing lunch for any volunteers during that day. It's primarily a weight-based cleanup in that they're putting vessels on the lake and going around the lake, cleaning up that way. And there are also people, not just landowners, but in the public places that are trying to clean up the public spots as well from the land side of it. I asked them what they suggested as a sponsorship amount. They suggested after, I asked them about 3 or 4 times, and I said, well, would $500 be an amount? I said, well, whatever you think. So I think they would appreciate, sponsorship at that level. If that's not something the board would be willing to do, I think they would appreciate sponsorship of anybody. The town is saying they either $500 or $1,000. That's the RTA, so that's where we are there.
Daniel, do you know what Brookfield's involved?
I do not, but
The U.S.
which they would have to be both, and I'm almost positive that one.
How about the Forest Service?
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to do the cleanup. Sandy Lake is, I don't know how many different publications I've seen in the last 2 years that have named it one of the most beautiful in the country. It's certainly a tourism draw, I believe. It's a beautiful lake. I think they're doing it at the wrong time of year, but it is what it is. I'm glad that somebody's willing to do it at the same time. We used to coordinate with the TVA cleaning up of Fontana Lake, and for some reason that stopped. I don't know why. But in Santigua Lake stays so full, it's difficult to do a cleanup because the water levels. But any effort would definitely be a plus for the lake and the county, I think, as a whole. The board of commissioners are furnishing dumpsters and some transportation things as far as that, and any trash that's brought into the recycling center, we're not going to be charging any fees on it. Good thing, I believe.
Yeah, there's,
Yeah.
yeah.
To the point where it's pretty clean and they remove so much trash. And of course, we're at the end, and that's the way it flows. But from what I understand, they're talking about having it at home and end, and we will help them.
That's a good thing.
Any questions, anybody? All right. So if the board is supportive, we'll entertain a motion to appropriate $500 to help sponsor the Santigua Lake cleanup.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Got a second? Somebody second? All right, all in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, what's next?
One final thing I just want to point out, that the first handout that I handed out was about the quilt exhibit. I thought that might be good for the families. I think that's going to be a really interesting project. Thank you, Chris.
Well, at the bottom there, it says the money for the sesquicentennial. Where's that exhibit at?
They're actually going to do that. What we're continuing to do is brand certain events as sesquicentennial.
Okay, so that's part of that.
That one is a sesquicentennial celebration.
Did we ever decide on doing fireworks on New Year's Eve?
took in monies that will offset expenses, and we're probably going to adjust the budget, bring that revenue back in to continue to anyway. Yes, you should have.
Let's look at that. I'd like to do that. If we can.
I'll follow that.
One other thing that crossed my mind, when we were talking about some of this stuff, the overlooks. We have got to, we're going to have to get a contract to clear these overlooks. The Forest Service doesn't have a budget. And DOT doesn't have anybody to do it, right? That's
Well, that's one of the things that's in the discussion tomorrow.
Okay.
Because that is, the management plan specified certain things, it's all management plan did. And there's been some renewed interest from both the DOT and the Forest Service of making sure that not only was whose responsibility it was, but in having it continue to be maintained. And I think that we may have an opportunity to have them do more than we thought they might initially.
That's good. And just to kind of follow up on Dale, in the discussion tomorrow, we will be in discussion about the cable code campground.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll keep us informed about how that is.
There's one behind the top of the chairman, but I want to follow up and make sure that I understood the monies they were talking about. But I'm pretty sure I did.
And we have asked our legislative representatives to see if they can help us with the cable code thing too. We won't know about that until after they go back into session in January, so it's a long way out. If they're going to help, it's going to be a long way.
And one of the things that is we're trying to work on a solution to at least re-up the portion of it. Maybe obviously not the way we'd like to end up, but at least make it somewhat useful.
It'll be primitive science.
Yes,
Basically.
So that's in the discussion.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Is that it, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we got one thing we need to go in closed session here and talk about. So at this time,